Welcome to Be Stoic, where we delve into the timeless wisdom of Stoicism and explore how these ancient principles can profoundly impact our modern lives. Today, we are going to explore a topic that has been central to the teachings of the Stoics, the power of silence and the dangers of talking too much. In a world where we're constantly encouraged to express ourselves, whether through social media, texting, or in everyday conversation, we often overlook the value of silence. Yet, as the Stoics knew, the more we talk, the more we risk losing control, diluting our impact, and creating unnecessary problems. Silence is not just the absence of words, it's a tool for wisdom, self-mastery, and reflection. It's a source of strength that enables us to navigate life with clarity and purpose. In this video, we're going to examine 11 negative things that can happen when we talk too much. We'll also discuss the immense power of keeping silent and how this practice can transform your life for the better. Each of these insights is grounded in Stoic philosophy, offering you actionable ways to incorporate silence into your daily routine. So, stay tuned until the end, because this wisdom can genuinely help you find more peace, power, and purpose. And don't forget to subscribe, Be Stoic, if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell so you won't miss any future videos. Now, let's begin our journey into the world of silence, guided by Stoic wisdom. Principle 1. Loss of self-control. Have you ever found yourself saying something in the heat of the moment, only to regret it later? This is a common occurrence when we lack control over our speech. Talking too much is often a sign that we're reacting impulsively, driven by emotion rather than reason. In Stoicism, self-control is one of the most important virtues. Without control over our impulses, we cannot live a life of wisdom or virtue. One of the core teachings of the Stoic philosopher Epictetus is the idea that we should always strive to be in control of ourselves. He famously said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." This statement serves as a reminder that when we speak without thinking, we often act out of arrogance, assuming we know more than we do. Silence, on the other hand, allows us to pause, reflect, and regain control over our emotions. In today's world, where social media and constant communication dominate, it's easy to forget that silence is an option. But Stoicism teaches us that self-control, especially over our speech, is a hallmark of wisdom. Every word you speak has consequences. The more you talk, the more likely you are to say something you'll regret or that might harm others. Silence offers you the opportunity to think before you speak, ensuring that your words are measured and deliberate. Imagine you're in a heated argument. In the moment, your emotions are running high, and the temptation to respond with harsh words is strong. However, if you practice the Stoic principle of self-control, you can pause before reacting. This pause allows you to assess whether your words are truly necessary or if silence would serve the situation better. By remaining silent, you maintain your composure and avoid escalating the conflict. In summary, talking too much can lead to impulsive reactions that we later regret. Practicing silence, as the Stoics suggest, gives us the space to regain self-control and approach situations with wisdom rather than emotion. Principle 2. Weakening of influence. In our society, we often equate speaking with power. The louder or more frequently someone speaks, the more we assume they have influence. But this is a misconception. In reality, the more we speak, the more we risk diluting our message. Stoicism teaches us that influence comes not from the quantity of words, but from their quality and timing. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius, who was the Roman emperor, understood that true power lies in action, not in excessive speech. In his meditations, he reflected on the importance of leading by example rather than by words. Marcus knew that words lose their weight when spoken too often or without careful thought. By speaking less, we ensure that our words carry more impact. The Stoics believed that wisdom lies in knowing when to speak and when to remain silent. The phrase "less is more" applies perfectly here. The fewer words you use, the more value each word holds. Think of a public figure who speaks sparingly, but when they do speak, their words carry weight and are remembered. This is the essence of Stoic influence, using silence as a tool to amplify the power of your speech. Consider a leader in your workplace or community who rarely speaks, but whose words, when they do speak, have a profound impact. Their influence is not weakened by constant chatter, but is strengthened by their ability to choose the right moments to speak. This is what Stoicism encourages us to strive for, speaking less, but making each word count. In short, talking too much can weaken your influence. The Stoics remind us that by speaking less, we can increase the weight of our words and become more impactful in our interactions with others. Principle 3. Misunderstanding and confusion. The more words we use, the more room there is for miscommunication. Have you ever tried to explain something, only to find yourself rambling and making the situation more confusing? This is a common result of talking too much. Excessive talking often leads to a loss of clarity, which can result in misunderstanding or confusion. Stoicism emphasizes clarity of thought and communication. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, wrote extensively about the importance of knowing when to speak and when to remain silent. In his letters, he advised that speech should be deliberate and concise. He said, "It is a great thing to know the season for speech and the season for silence. In a world filled with noise, clarity is a rare commodity." The Stoics understood that the more we speak, the more we muddy the waters of communication. Silence, however, allows us to gather our thoughts, ensuring that when we do speak, our message is clear and to the point. Think about the last time you tried to explain something complex. Did you find yourself going off on tangents, losing track of your main point? This is a common pitfall of talking too much. Now contrast that with someone who speaks in short, deliberate sentences. Their message is clear, and they are less likely to be misunderstood. This is the Stoic approach to communication. Speak with purpose and clarity, and let silence do the rest. In conclusion, excessive talking often leads to misunderstanding and confusion. By embracing silence and speaking only when necessary, we ensure that our words are clear and meaningful, reducing the risk of miscommunication. Principle 4. Inviting judgment and criticism. When we talk too much, we reveal more about ourselves than we may intend. The more we share, the more vulnerable we become to judgment and criticism. While Stoicism teaches us to be indifferent to the opinions of others, it also teaches us to practice discretion in how much we reveal. Stoic philosophy emphasizes the importance of guarding our inner peace from external judgments. Epictetus taught that we should not concern ourselves with what others think of us because their opinions are beyond our control. However, he also advised that we should be mindful of how much we reveal about ourselves. By talking too much, we open ourselves up to unnecessary criticism, which can disturb our tranquility. The Stoics valued discretion and modesty in speech. They understood that revealing too much can invite unwarranted opinions and judgments. Silence, therefore, becomes a shield that protects us from exposing too much of our inner world to the external noise of others' judgments. Imagine you're in a social setting and you find yourself talking at length about your personal life or your opinions. The more you speak, the more you expose yourself to the judgments of others. Now, think of someone who remains reserved, speaking only when necessary. Their discretion protects them from unnecessary criticism, and they maintain an air of mystery and self-respect. This is the Stoic ideal. Speak with purpose and allow silence to shield you from the judgments of others. In essence, talking too much can invite judgment and criticism. The Stoics teach us that by speaking less and practicing discretion, we can protect our inner peace from the external noise of others' opinions. Principle 5. Draining your energy. Talking requires energy, mental, emotional, and physical. The more you talk, the more energy you expend. Have you ever finished a long conversation and felt drained? This is a common result of talking too much. Excessive talking can deplete your energy, leaving you feeling mentally and emotionally exhausted. Stoicism emphasizes the wise use of our resources, including our energy. The Stoic practice of moderation, sophrosine, applies not only to our actions, but also to our speech. The Stoics understood that our energy is finite, and we should be mindful of how we use it. By talking less, we conserve our energy for more important matters, such as self-improvement, reflection, and meaningful action. Seneca wrote, "Life is long if you know how to use it." This applies to our energy as well. Our energy is abundant if we know how to conserve it. Silence allows us to preserve our energy, while excessive talking depletes it. In a world where we are constantly bombarded with information and distractions, conserving our energy becomes even more important. Think about the last time you spent hours talking or engaging in a lengthy conversation. How did you feel afterward? Most likely, you felt drained, with little energy left for other tasks. Now, imagine a day where you practiced silence, speaking only when necessary. You would likely find that you have more energy to devote to important tasks and personal growth. This is the Stoic way. Use your energy wisely, and let silence be a tool for conserving it. In conclusion, talking too much can drain your energy. By practicing silence, we conserve our energy for more meaningful pursuits and ensure that we are using our resources wisely, as the Stoics advise. Principle 6. Losing focus on listening. When we're constantly talking, we're not listening. Listening is a vital skill in Stoic practice because it allows us to learn, grow, and connect with others. The more we talk, the less we absorb the wisdom and experiences of others. Silence, on the other hand, opens the door to learning. A key tenet of Stoicism is the pursuit of wisdom, and one of the best ways to acquire wisdom is through listening. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, reflects on how much he learned from his teachers, not by talking but by listening. The Stoics understood that we don't know everything and that we can always learn from others. By remaining silent, we allow ourselves to listen and absorb the lessons that life and others have to offer. Listening is also an act of humility, a core Stoic virtue. When we listen, we acknowledge that others may have knowledge or insights that we lack. Silence allows us to put our ego aside and be open to learning from those around us. Think about a time when you were in a conversation, but you were more focused on what you were going to say next, rather than listening to the other person. How much did you actually learn from that interaction? Now, contrast that with a time when you listened intently to someone else, absorbing their wisdom without feeling the need to interject constantly. This is the Stoic approach. Be silent, listen, and learn. In short, talking too much prevents us from truly listening. The Stoics remind us that silence is a gateway to learning, wisdom, and connection with others. By talking less, we open ourselves up to the lessons that life and others have to offer. Principle 7. Encouraging gossip and idle talk. When we talk too much, we often fall into the trap of gossip and idle chatter. These types of conversations add little value to our lives and often lead to negativity. Stoicism teaches us to avoid gossip because it is not aligned with our higher purpose or virtues. The Stoics were wary of idle talk, especially gossip. Epictetus warned against engaging in trivial or harmful conversations because they distract us from our pursuit of virtue. Gossip, in particular, is harmful because it encourages judgment, spreads negativity, and can damage relationships. The Stoics believed that we should focus on what is within our control, our own thoughts and actions, rather than getting caught up in the lives of others. Silence is a powerful antidote to gossip. When we choose to remain silent instead of engaging in idle talk, we elevate our conversations to a higher level, focusing on meaningful discussions that promote growth and virtue. Think about a time when you were involved in a conversation that turned into gossip. How did you feel afterward? Did it add value to your life, or did it leave you feeling empty or even regretful? Now imagine if you had chosen silence instead, refraining from engaging in that gossip. You would have maintained your integrity and avoided spreading negativity. This is the Stoic approach. Avoid idle talk and gossip, and use silence to maintain your focus on what truly matters. In conclusion, talking too much often leads to gossip and idle chatter, which detracts from our pursuit of virtue. The Stoics encourage us to practice silence to avoid these pitfalls and focus on meaningful, productive conversations. Principle 8. Heightening anxiety and stress. Excessive talking can increase anxiety, especially when we over-explain ourselves or worry about how others perceive our words. Stoicism teaches us to detach from external validation and to find peace in our own judgment. But when we talk too much, we often seek approval from others, leading to unnecessary stress. One of the central teachings of Stoicism is the idea of focusing on what is within our control and letting go of what is not. Marcus Aurelius frequently reminded himself in his meditations that we cannot control the opinions of others, only our own actions and reactions. Excessive talking, particularly when driven by a desire to control how others perceive us, takes us away from this Stoic principle. When we talk too much, we often feel the need to explain ourselves, to justify our actions or opinions, and to seek validation from others. This leads to stress and anxiety because we are focusing on something we cannot control, other people's reactions. Silence, on the other hand, allows us to stay grounded in our own judgment and to let go of the need for external approval. Think about a time when you were worried about how others perceived you and you found yourself over-explaining or justifying your actions. Did that conversation leave you feeling more anxious or at peace? Now, imagine if you had chosen silence instead, confident in your own judgment and indifferent to the opinions of others. This is the Stoic way. Speak only when necessary, and let go of the need for external validation. In short, talking too much can increase anxiety and stress because it often stems from a desire to control how others perceive us. By practicing silence, we can find peace in our own judgment and reduce the anxiety that comes from seeking external approval. Principle 9. Hindering self-reflection. When we are constantly talking, we lose the opportunity for introspection and self-reflection. Silence, on the other hand, creates space for us to evaluate our thoughts, actions, and emotions, key practices in Stoic self-improvement. Self-reflection is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. Marcus Aurelius's Meditations is a personal journal filled with reflections on his thoughts, actions, and progress toward virtue. The Stoics believed that regular self-reflection was essential for personal growth. Silence creates the mental space necessary for this kind of introspection. Excessive talking, however, keeps us distracted and disconnected from our inner world. When we are always focused on external conversations, we lose touch with our thoughts and emotions. Silence allows us to turn inward, to reflect on our day, our choices, and how we can improve ourselves. Think about a time when you were constantly engaged in conversation, whether in person or online. How much time did you have for self-reflection? Now, contrast that with a time when you had moments of silence to reflect on your day or your life. That silence likely provided you with valuable insights and a sense of clarity. This is the Stoic approach. Use silence to create space for self-reflection and personal growth. In conclusion, talking too much hinders our ability to reflect on ourselves and our actions. The Stoics encourage us to embrace silence as a tool for self-reflection and improvement. Principle 10. Breaking trust in relationships. Speaking too much can sometimes lead us to say things we later regret, potentially damaging trust in our relationships. Stoicism teaches us the importance of discretion and mindfulness in our words to maintain harmony and trust with others. Trust is built on consistent, virtuous actions, including the way we communicate. The Stoics emphasize the importance of speaking with intention and thoughtfulness. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Kindness is invincible." This applies to our speech as well. When we speak with kindness and discretion, we build trust with those around us. However, when we talk too much, especially in moments of frustration or anger, we risk saying something that could break that trust. Silence helps us avoid speaking in haste or out of emotion. giving us the time to consider whether our words will build or harm the relationship. By speaking less and listening more, we demonstrate respect for others and cultivate stronger, more trusting relationships. Think about a time when you said something in the heat of the moment that damaged a relationship. How might that situation have been different if you had remained silent instead? By practicing silence in those moments of frustration, you could have maintained trust and avoided unnecessary conflict. This is the Stoic way. Use silence to protect your relationships and build trust. In essence, talking too much can harm trust in relationships. The Stoics teach us that by speaking less and practicing discretion, we can maintain harmony and trust with others. Principle 11. Losing connection with the present moment. Excessive talking pulls us away from the present moment. When we are constantly focused on what to say next, we miss the opportunity to experience life fully in the here and now. Silence, on the other hand, anchors us in the present. The Stoics placed great emphasis on the power of presence. Marcus Aurelius urged himself to confine yourself to the present, because that is where life truly happens. When we are constantly talking, our attention is divided. We are thinking about the past or future, or planning what we will say next. This pulls us away from the present moment, where true peace and wisdom reside. Silence allows us to fully experience the present moment. By quieting our minds and focusing on the here and now, we can engage more deeply with ourselves, others, and the world around us. The Stoics believed that being present was essential for living a virtuous and fulfilling life. Think about a time when you were engaged in a conversation, but were more focused on what you were going to say next, rather than being present in the moment. Now, contrast that with a time when you practiced silence and fully immersed yourself in the present moment. Silence allows us to connect more deeply with the present, which is where true wisdom and peace are found. In short, talking too much pulls us away from the present moment. The Stoics remind us that silence anchors us in the here and now, allowing us to experience life more fully and with greater clarity. The power of silence cannot be overstated. It is a tool for self-mastery, wisdom, and peace. As you've seen through these 11 principles, talking too much can lead to a host of negative consequences, but silence offers a path to clarity, strength, and control. Take a moment today to reflect on your own relationship with silence. How can you practice speaking less and listening more? How can silence help you navigate life's challenges with stoic composure? Thank you for watching. If you found value in this video, don't forget to subscribe to be stoic and watch our other videos on how stoicism can improve your life. By subscribing, you'll join a community of like-minded individuals seeking to live with wisdom, virtue, and inner peace.